All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. I'm Bobby Legs, and welcome to a Saturday live stream. And I am joined today by my friend Axel from the WatchMaxe YouTube channel and the WatchMaxe_EN YouTube channel. Axel does double the work, so he'll do a video in German and then he'll translate it in English. So he's a hard-working YouTube content creator. Axel, how are you today? And what do you have on wrist?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to your channel. It's a pleasure and an honor. I'm pretty fine. 39th week of home office, so I do know the wall in front of me.
Yeah.
But I assume many of us have the same problem. On my wrist today is a German micro brand. It's the Circular Aqua Sport.
Okay.
I don't know whether you've seen my video, have heard of it.
I have.
It's a watch which really surprises me because it's a Serita SW200 chronometer driven watch with applied indices for just €600 on a steel bracelet on a beads of rice, and that's amazing.
That is great. That's a great price. for all that. That is impressive. You know, I think you're starting to see. Well, I am starting to see with some of the micro brands, some of the quality of some of them getting a little bit better, and the pricing also being more appealing.
One second, I need to let my dog out.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So yeah, so like I was saying, you do see some really good pricing and a lot to offer with some of these micro brands these days.
Beg your pardon.
No problem at all, Axel. And so yeah, so you know, I also work from home too, so I know the inside, and I work in a dining room because I'm usually up early with the kids before my wife comes down, so I need to keep an eye out on them. So I know that dining room very, very well as well. Like you know, the wall in front of you, and so yeah. But it is the new normal for now, and hopefully that will change soon. But it is what it is. Let's see here. We have Noor. Noor, how you doing? I am wearing the still got it every time. Well, this is our second stream together, and I'm happily wearing my Gino Series 40 automatic. Classique. I had for a little while. I'll admit to you, Axel. For a little while I was thinking about selling it. I actually put it up for sale, and I'm glad that I'm glad I didn't, because for Black Friday, which is a day after Thanksgiving, it's Friday sales. I got this very nice Flieger type strap with the two rivets here, and it's really changed the way I look, the look and feel of the watch, and so I'm glad I have it still. So and I'll definitely keep it and look forward to adding more and more German watches. You had a great video. Before we jump into today's topic, I want to talk about the Flight Engineer by Gino. That was hey Ken, how you doing? That's a great watch. You know, like I have this thing, and I don't know if you have this thing as well, where I like brand diversity in my collection. I have a hard time with two of the same brands in my collection. I'll do. I've known to make. I've made exceptions before, but I try not to do that. But that Gino, that's really hard for me. I would love to add that because it's the review was great that you did. Tell us about that Flight Engineer a little bit. I would love to hear your take on it.
Yeah. First, I have to admit I'm not looking at diversity in peak times. I had about 20 Sinns in my collection, so that's not the standard definition of diversity.
No, but hey, you know, that would be one brand I make an exception for, though. To be honest with you, I would own multiple Sinns for sure, and I probably will at one point.
And the flight engineer, that's absolutely a great watch. This one is not the standard version because it's a bead blasted case and a
Hmm.
bead blasted bracelet.
It's one of five, right? You said there was only five of those?
One of five, yeah.
Yeah.
I've talked to Matthias and he said it was a customizing request, and he said I don't do just one case. I'm doing five, and when I wanted to buy this one, he was short of cases, and his wife said, "Oh, we have one left of the special cases." And I said,
Wow.
"Okay, yeah, you could have a bead blasted one," and it was a hard decision, but finally I went for the bead blasted one.
Very nice. Hey, Junior, how are you? Snuggle Tummy, what's up? What's up? Um, Now, you had mentioned Zen. Would you? What is the Zen comparable Zen watch to that, Gino? Would it be the 856? Would it be the 104? What is that? Is there a comparable Zen watch?
I would say it's a hybrid version of the 856 and the 104.
Yeah, yeah.
It's thicker than both because it has the magnetic field protection
Yeah.
and the rotating bezel, which the 856 doesn't have. So it adds a little bit to the thickness, but it's as comfortable on the wrist as the 104 and has about the same size as both. The 856 has 40 millimeter, the 104 has 41,
Right.
and the flight engineer has 40.6. So it's just in the middle, but I doubt that anyone could tell you 0.4 millimeter, give or take, in either direction.
I agree. Hey, Beans and Bezels. I don't know if you're familiar with the Beans and Bezels channel, but Beans also does a lot of reviews on German watches and some even German micro brands. So very interesting stuff. Junior, I'm subscribed to Axel's channel. Good reviews. Speaking of your Axel, one thing, let's just get out of the way. You have something to give away. Go ahead.
If there is someone in your audience who is interested in Laco, I received a small desk calendar from Laco with pictures of the most recent Laco watches and some information. So if you would like to share it with someone of your audience, just drop me name and address and I ship it from Germany.
Great. So you know what we'll do, guys? If you guys are interested, put a comment below, or subscribe to Axel's channel and say, hey, I'm here. But subscribe to his channel anyway, but put a comment below and then I'll just do like a randomizer in a couple days and then I'll pass along, I'll get in touch with you and I'll pass along your information over to Axel and he graciously will send that Laco calendar internationally to you. So thank you so much. That's a great gift. So today's topic, and this is the second time Axel's been on our live stream. The first time was about a month or two ago when we were discussing what does made in Germany mean, and a couple of German brands, some that you've heard of and some that you haven't heard of. And so one of the brands that we touched upon a little bit was Torby, I believe, and I've known Torby. Well, I've been following Torby. I've following them on Instagram for about almost a year now. I'm very interested in what they do and their business product and how they make watches and the customization that they do. Axel fortunately has a few in hand today. And he actually put out a video earlier. If you're subscribed to the channel, you know that he put out a video on a couple of those Lawless divers that are beautiful looking watches. So Axel, I'm going to turn it over to you. If you want to give us an overview of Torby, and then we could jump in and I'll share my screen and go onto their website and have that going in the background. But the floor is yours, Axel. Tell us a little bit about Torby and how you got in touch with them and how you got these watches.
Thank you very much. Torby, I've been in contact with Torby for about roughly a year now. He's part of a German watch forum where I got in contact with him and I said, okay, I'd like to see some of your watches, would do some reviews. and he's suffering from the Corona crisis like many other micro brands. He's fighting against bottlenecks of spare parts and get his watches assembled and this kind of stuff. So it took extremely long, about half a year or so, to get the watches for review. And finally, I received 6 watches, which I've just in front of me, and I'm totally excited about these watches because only 2 or 3 of them are standard, and the others are either special editions or customized versions. So absolutely great, and all of them really surprised me in terms of quality and the way they are built and the design language they stand for. Absolutely great. And starting with watches which you and some of your visitors may have seen already is the I would have pronounced it Lawless, but Erdal, the owner of Tourby, pronounces it Loveless.
Love. Okay.
It's about an Australian professional diver, Brandon, and I think he's named Loveless. I have no clue at all.
Okay.
He was involved in the design and tech specs of that watch, so I think the pronunciation comes from his name. I'd never heard of him before. And these, yeah.
The reason why I say, I say Lawless. I mean, so I had no idea that this was maybe in coordination with with someone else designing and developing this watch. To me, like Lawless means somebody who does not follow the law. So I figured maybe that was like some like a kind of like an outlaw watch that we have here. Let me put you on solo layout. Yeah, wow. And so that's the 42.
That's the 40 millimeter JNT version, and JNT means they removed the crown guards.
Mm-hmm.
They sized up the crown. It's a bigger crown and a little bit color. The top triangle is in red, and you probably can't see it. There's a really, really small part in the tip of the second hand, which is red.
Oh,
and the
nice.
case shape at the crown looks a little bit like the Black Bay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a special model from the Loveless series, the standard ones. This is the 42 millimeter. They do have crown guards, as you can see.
And do they offer that? I've never seen on their site that mesh style a bracelet. Is that something that you can get a la carte?
If you go to the accessory section, they have it on offer, 22 millimeter and 20 millimeter. But given the size, the thickness, and the quality of the clasp, they charge 250 euro for that. So that's in the range of Stipe or other premium mesh producers.
Gotcha. I do like the blue one, the without the crown guards. It does remind me of a Black Bay, Tudor Black Bay. I have a Black Bay 58, although that Torby is probably much larger. But I do like the oversized crown, so you get a nice grip on it, and no crown guards. So it's a very classic look, and I really, really enjoy it. Now, so these are standard with the ETA 2824, and you have all the DIN standards there, the anti-magnetic and the shock proof.
It's still the 2824, but you only can order that standard movement until March 31st. After that, the only option they offer is the top grade chronometer for additional 200.
Okay. Now, when you were speaking with the owner, seems to be amongst other watch makers a difficulty in getting the ETAs. Is there any indication What when that happens, when his supply runs out, like where is he going to go? Salida, or is he going to go somewhere else? Do you know?
Well, I've talked to Sinn, I've talked to Guidon, I've talked to Torby, and it's not just the movements. Guidon had problems getting cases and hands.
Right.
Torby had problems getting movements. If you look at the current Sinn portfolio, they added two new watch movement producers.
Hmm.
The 903 received a different movement, and others. So I see they are diversifying their supplier portfolio, if you want to take it that way,
Yeah.
in order to overcome certain bottlenecks. But I've talked to Matthias Klü about that, and it was really interesting. I said, you probably diversify your vendor range. I said, no, we can't do that, because if we receive hands from 2 or 3 different vendors, they probably may look different, and I need exactly the same to replace it
Right.
once it's broken. So we normally just have one, and maybe one for the worst case, but not as a standard supplier. And if they have a resource or delivery issue, we do have the same issue.
Gotcha. Understood. So okay, so now you've had the two Loveless. I think I got it right. The correct pronunciation, Loveless divers. Now you also have an old vintage. I think it's called the Militaire.
It's
Um,
the old military, yeah. It's
Old
a watch
Militaire.
which received the German Design Award this year.
Let me see if I could pull it up. And now is it the one with the blue outline on the hands?
Yeah, it
Um,
is. It
okay.
is.
And what size is the one that you have? Is it
Um,
40?
that's the elephant size 45.
Okay, okay. So I just want to make sure I want to pull the corresponding.
And as you can see, it's a showcase movement. It's a golden movement, which they currently don't offer. So if you go for it, you get the standard movement. You can have it decorated, but they don't offer the gold movements any longer.
Oh, so what you have is something that you can no longer get from them. So you have something special in your hand, Sarah.
Actually, it was the last movement we have, and we decided to put it into our showcase watch rather than creating any kind of desire by delivering it to a customer.
Wow. Rispa says, "Hey guys, I love that you two are connecting. Big fan of German watches here as well. So I'm hoping to spread the gospel of Axel here in the United States with the German watches. So guys, don't forget to um, subscribe to his channel. I have his channel links in the description. So this is a great looking watch. I mean, it is huge. It's 45 millimeters, but they do offer smaller sizes, which is encouraging because that is a very, very good looking watch, I have to say.
But by the way, that's one of the trademark characteristics of Torby for me. Nearly all of their watches they offer in 3 sizes: 40, 45, and either 42 or 43.
Yeah.
So
No, I've noticed
that's
that.
amazing for me.
Yeah. No, that is great. Just the logistics alone, making sure you have all those different size cases, and to have the same continuity and look between a 40, 43, and a 45. That speaks to their commitment and watchmaking. I'm impressed with that as well. Moving on, what else can you show us? This is like Christmas. I love seeing what do you have here.
The more classy ones I'll say for last.
Okay.
This one is again a customized watch. It's a Tourby Flieger with the old radium lume color and
Uh-huh.
the hand wound golden movement unitas.
Wow. Yeah.
That's a absolutely great watch, and that's a 40 millimeter. So this is really nice, even on my small wrist.
Yeah. So, but it looks like the lug to lug is not too scary. So for a 40-40, it's probably what, a 48? millimeter lug to lug, do you think?
About that, I can put it on my wrist and show it on my
Yeah.
wrist, which gives a better impression, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't look that bad. And you have a 6 3/4 inch wrist, right?
Yep, right.
Yeah. Same. We have the same wrist size. Yeah.
So, and I like these tapered shape
Yeah.
of the strap.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very classic look.
Yeah,
Um,
it's the typical IWC look, but I like it.
Absolutely, I agree. So great looking watches there. Those are the let me see if I could pull that up. Vintage Pilot blah blah blah. And is that's a that's not an automatic, that is a manual, right? So let me just share.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So it may not be, this may not be the same exact one, because I think you said yours has old radium hands, but this is a what a 40, is it maybe perhaps the anniversary one?
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the anniversary one with the second hand on a 6 o'clock position.
Yeah. Yeah. Very typical of the 6498 with this 6 o'clock second hand there, and great still look. I mean, you could with all their watches, they offer all these upgrades here, and we'll get into that a little bit. I don't want to. I want to see some of the last two watches that, and I'm going to put you on big screen here because I'm a big fan of the next watch.
Before that, I have a surprise which I didn't mention to you earlier, and Tourby hides it on their page. Any watch they ship in those cases, and these are real leather cases, and they are absolutely heavy. So it's massive wood, and it's real leather, and it's such a travel case. And if you order an extra strap, you get it.
Wow.
In a bigger one for the strap. And these
Wow.
boxes alone cost around 120 euro. And this is how they ship their watches.
That is amazing. Amazing stuff. I look, I mean, at the end of the day, some people will some people will see that, and they would like that. Some people are like, well, I'd rather they spend more money on the watch, but I like a nice little presentation, and that's something you could travel with, right?
This makes sense in your daily life. If you have a real big box which you store away, it just consumes storage space.
Yeah, agreed. And that is just plain usefulness. That's plain useful. Nick J just got in a Stova Flieger pilot's watch. Excellent. Classic German brand Stova. A lot, Sinn and Stova, I think, pretty much for people here in the States who might be getting into German watches, are one of the first recognizable brands, especially Stova, and Laco and whatnot. But congratulations, Nick. That's a great watch. Okay, Axel, come on, let's see it. Let me put you on the big. I'm excited about these two.
So I'll leave it to you. Blue or gold?
Let's go gold. Why not gold? Let's go.
This is one of the very, very typical classy Tourby watches.
Yes.
If you have in mind that Tourby started based on pocket watches, the grandfather of Erdal Yildiz, the owner of Torby, was collecting pocket watches, and this is where it came from, and this is why most of their early watches have hand-wound unitas movements. And I hope you can see it. This is a beautifully decorated movement. It's I tend to wear it upside down just because of the movement.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that is just that. Now, is that the
that's the Art Deco classic.
Right. But that's not the completely hand engraved movement. Is that that's the one that's a step below, right?
Exactly. You have guilloche on the bridges. You have sunburst on the. I didn't look up the word. I don't know what Zahnrad is in English.
The wheels there in the back you're talking about?
The wheels, yeah, but
Oh, it's escaping. It's the winding wheels. I forget what they're called. Yeah, absolutely. I'm drawing a blank too. But no, but yes, they are. It's beautiful. Very, very. I love it. I love it.
yeah. And
The winding wheels.
Yeah, and the face, it's not precisely a taxidermy dial, but it goes into that direction, and that's something which I would pick for a Christmas Eve or a New Year's Eve dinner. Well, that's a heavy word.
Yeah. Now is that a gold case? Like that's just not.
It's gold plated. It's not massive
Okay.
gold.
That's fine. Now that is beautiful. If you want to show the blue one real quickly, I would love to see that as well.
That's
wow.
the blue one. And
that's nice.
And by the way, if we put it side by side, you see the differences of the movement. So
right.
here you see different steps of decoration of the movement.
That's a good point, and I'm glad you showed that, because the one in the blue dial, that's the basic standard package, right?
Actually, I'm not quite sure. It has Geneva stripes on the bridges and sunburst on the wheels and blue screws. So you already have some fancy gimmicks here.
Yeah,
but it doesn't look quite as the other one.
Right. And so I'm gonna take you off the main screen here. Peter wants to know, are they the same size? Are those both 40 millimeters?
The gold one is 42 and the blue one is 40.
Okay, gotcha. But you can get that gold. You can theoretically get that gold one in a 40. Or do they not offer that anymore?
I think so. I don't have their website.
Yeah, we'll put up their website.
All the content by heart, but they do have a couple of sizes.
No worries. Like I said, their website, and you guys could see it here, is very transparent. So this is they offer the deco in a 40, 40, 43, and 45. We're looking at the 43 at this moment, and as is, I think with the Cordovan strap or the alligator strap is €1,700. Now here's where you can do some of these upgrades here. You can get the rose gold plated case for an additional €200. The sunburst wheels we're talking here at 500. The swan neck fine adjustment at 250. The premium movement, I think, is they use on the Unitas. They do the 3/4 inch bridge, the gold chatons, the Côte circulaire, the perlage on the main plate and pallet bridge, etc. So if I was to get a watch this Art Deco, I would just go with this premium movement, because I think it includes the sunburst and the swan neck. There's a top grade movement available here where they go the Unitas 6498-2, has a longer power reserved, some more extras. And then when it gets really crazy is like the complete hand engravings. You have a partial hand grave, which I think the one that you have. Oh, so this is the partial hand grave. So I think this is the one that the blue one has.
Yeah.
And
definitely, yes.
And then a more complete hand grave is something to this effect. Although when I'm on the site, I see they have different variations. I guess this is more customizable.
Yeah, they have hand graved, and you can decide if you have the bridges hand graved or skeleton bridges, which gives a deeper look into the movement. And what you get is a single piece. No one is like the other.
Yeah, and that is awesome. I tell you what, I appreciate the transparency here on their site, and the watches are beautiful. Now the hand engravings right? They don't do it in house. I mean, they have somebody who does some engraving, as you talked about before we started the stream. But they do have to send this stuff out because they don't have that kind of manpower or equipment, I would imagine. Correct?
Since they are well known but still pretty small, I strongly assume they don't keep the resources available just in case of they send it out to an external engraver. If you have the full manually engraved movement for €1,600,
Yeah.
but the partial engravements or engravings which can be done in an industrialized manner, like the X-ray or sunburst or Geneva stripes, which they may have on stock and just assemble the watch accordingly. This is done in-house, but the manual engravement, I doubt they keep the capacity just in case someone orders a watch. And I don't think these watches are ordered any other week.
Yeah. So this is the one that Axel. This is the one that's my favorite, and I've been looking at this for a really, really long time, and debating what to do. And I just think this one is beautiful. It's the enamel 40. It's also available 40, 43, and 45. And you're looking at a €1,600 price, which is probably, I don't know, roughly around maybe like, let's just say like around $1,900 or $2,000 American USD. Maybe that's a little high. But here is where I get a little hesitant about ordering, because if I'm gonna go for a watch like this, if I kept it standard with no decoration, beautiful watch, the enamel dial is great, and $1,600 I think is maybe fairly reasonable. But I would want to add a lot of these other upgrades, so that's where the price gets a little steep. And then also that's where the price gets to like around the area of, all right, do I get a Torby with all these extras, or do I go Dornbroth and Zahn? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where it's a little tricky for me. Is that reasonable thinking, Axel? Do you think?
I'm a bit hesitant to reply because for me, a watch primarily is a tool. So I don't care too much about decorated movements. I don't care too much about chronometer certificates, because these are spot checks and no guarantee that the chronometer certificate is still kept after the watch has been shipped. So I'm not scared about scratches on the watch. So for me, it's really a tool. If it's nice looking, it's fine, but I wouldn't pay an extra fee for a chronometer. I wouldn't pay an extra fee for a decorated movement. So for me, it's hard to reply. I acknowledge the craftsmanship, I acknowledge the expertise, and I like looking at it, but I wouldn't pay for it.
Fair enough. That is a fair answer, Axel. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but no, but you're right. I mean, like, look, if I didn't care so much about the decoration on the case back, if it was just a flat case back, and I know that there's a 6498, I know what they look like, then I think purchasing that enamel for whatever price it is without the extras is fine. Unfortunately, I have this problem where I like to look at the back of a very decorated case back. So while Torby is very, I'm interested in this watch, I also have to compare with some of the other competitors, and now we're getting, with all the extras, we're getting into a range where I could look at a Dornbluth for that price. I could possibly even look at a Habring or a Joachim Benzinger, or if I pronounced that correctly. So sorry if I didn't. But some of those more smaller German brands. But if I'm looking at Lawless, I mean, that's a great watch. I mean, the one that you reviewed, the black dial one, that's a 1,200 euro watch, and that has a lot of good stuff in it.
And
Very attractive.
the back of the black one, that's
The
absolutely
case back
great.
is beautiful. Yeah.
Uh,
Let me put that on screen here. Hold on one second. Yeah, I mean, if you guys have a chance, check out Axel's review that he did today. He has a good shot of that engraved case back. It is just it's bananas, you know.
but let me put your question into another context.
Okay.
Talking about Tourby and comparing it to the others, if you like the beauty of a case bag and the movement, with Tourby you have the option to have a highly individualized watch, which others probably wouldn't offer. So if you're ready to pay for it and have then created your watch instead of a watch, this could be a topic to pay for.
That's a good point. I mean, you could go to Dornbluth and have more of a bespoke watch and ask him to do certain things, but then now that price gets a little bit higher. So now you're getting higher
Exactly
than a fully decorated Torby. So that is a good point, Axel. I didn't think about that, but that is a good point. Now Torby, just for some of the people in the chat, how long has Torby been around, Axel?
Torby started, the idea started, if I recall it correctly, in 2004, and they started the business in 2007. I did a video about that, and I could look it up. I have my notes right beside of me, but I think it's pretty right around that mid of the 2000s. They started the business, so
Yeah.
it's a pretty young company actually. And most of their customers, or a huge number of their customers, actually come from the US and from Japan. So really interesting. They are not so well known in Germany. And one of their key orders came from the Navy pilots in the US. They ordered a special edition from Torby.
Yeah.
I thought this is really interesting.
That is, and I'll pull it up. Unfortunately, you can't buy it. But they did make it for the U.S. Navy. Let me pull that up. So this one right here. Look at the size of that crown. The crown is huge. Oh, I love it.
Have you read that all watches are secretly numbered, so the pilot can be identified by the number of the watch, but the number is not officially published.
Wow, that's awesome. That is awesome. It's such a cool looking watch. Like if they made this available, like I'd open up my wallet. I'd say take whatever you want, just because of why it was made, who it was made for, and that dial is just awesome. Very much. I like it. One other watch that I saw here. This is not it. Let me pull it up. And this one here, and I feel that they didn't do a great job with the picture here, because I think this watch probably is a stunner in person, and it sort of kind of reminds me of a H. Moser a little bit.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, and it's just a good looking watch. Like I said, I feel like the pictures don't do it justice. I'm sure if you saw this in person, it'd be you'd be very, very impressed. But very, very nice looking watch. So they have a lot of variety here. I mean, not only do you have your dressy 6498s, you have your dive watches, your GMTs, pilot watches, vintage looking watches, and then you throw something out there that kind of looks like a Moser. They cover a lot of bases. They cover a lot of genres for sure.
And then I have some fancy watches with the world map as a dial and
Yeah,
all these kind. So
yeah.
weird stuff to a certain extent, but extremely wide portfolio. And I wonder how they could keep up the quality by growing so fast in terms of volume and portfolio.
Now, did they give you any indication why not so as much popular in Germany? Is there just if you live in Germany, is there so many great watches to choose from that that getting into that space is just so difficult? So they're more focused on other parts of the world. Why aren't they more popular in Germany, do you think?
One point could be that they are located in an area which is famous for making steel and digging for coal rather than watchmaking.
Ah, okay.
It's a region where I don't want to say poor people, but it's not the financial heart of Germany.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty unusual to have a producer of luxury goods in that region.
Okay.
That could be one. And second, the starting point with very classy watches, hand-wound watches, in a certain design, which is not the mainstream of watches in Germany, which is probably Flieger or divers, but not the dresser or classy watches. So it might not have met the market desire in the first step.
Gotcha. Understood. Yeah. Well, it's a shame, and I hope they catch on a little bit more. I here in the States, I don't see them too often in the secondary market. You see them pop up every once in a while, and you don't really. I don't know any many people who have them. I don't know anybody who has one actually. But I would love to see them more. Out there because I think they have a fantastic watch, and it's just like a lot of other brands who do not market themselves as well as they maybe could have or could. It's a shame because I think with the level of customization that you could do with them, and at that price point, I think they can be really really popular. Let's see here. Noor has a question for Axel regarding popularity. Which watch brand is the most popular in Germany? Good question, Noor.
The most popular watch in Germany or the most popular German watch?
Well, answer those both. If you have the answers to both, let us know.
If you look at the figure of watches sold, Rolex by far is the biggest.
Okay.
Rolex sells as many watches as the next three together do.
Wow.
So this question is pretty simple. Must be Rolex when we look at the number of watches sold.
Wow.
When it comes to perception and reputation, because Rolex has a sometimes not very easy reputation, because it's a watch which is often linked to people working in a red light districts and as bits in a poker game. So it's not everyone has an objective view on that brand, put it that way.
Okay.
Popular, we of course have Omega, we have Breitling, and if it comes to German watches, you have the really big, well-known players like A. Lange and Söhne, those in Glashütte. They are not the most expensive ones, actually. There are some watchmakers who do just 10 watches a year and do anything from the wheel, from the screw to the case, everything by themselves in-house. So they are absolutely not known, but among the collectors community, they are popular, they are much appreciated. And if it comes to watches which sell in masses or with a certain amount of watches, then most certainly Sinn has a good reputation, and it's growing in terms of reputation.
Wow. So Peter was gonna.
I
Sorry,
hope that did answer the question, and I did get it right.
No, I think you did. Peter was going to buy a Zim 104, but now he's tempted here. So we may have a Torby. You might be the first person I know, Peter, who buys a Torby. And if you do, send it in for a review. I would love to review it. Andres wants to know, how is Geo perceived in Germany? Glashütte Original. How are they perceived there?
Glashütte Original, great watch. And I do like their heritage series and the 60s. Absolutely great. If I was a dress watch guy, I most certainly had one. So I like to look at them, but I would never wear them. I have no opportunities to wear them. Quality-wise, there's no point to argue. They are absolutely well-made, great watches. If the price is justified, I never had one in hand, so I can't judge from my own experience, but people who have one are totally satisfied. Excellent.
Chris over at the Watch Lounge wants to know, what's your favorite German brand, Axel?
Since I had about 20 Sinns and I still have more than 10, it still is Sinn, but it is changing a bit. I'm tending more and more towards the smaller ones who deliver exceptional quality for a fraction of the price, like the IKLA brands, Archimede, Limes, or Guinan, or the startups like Circular. Amazing what they do, and here I'm more curious than linked to a certain brand.
Excellent. Well, yeah, Chris, he loves Sinn. If he chose one brand to collect, it would be that brand. And I'm almost there. I mean, if I had to collect one brand, it depends on what I feel like at the moment. But most days, I can be very happy with a whole collection of Sinn watches, to be honest with you. Well, Axel,
what do you think about the 105s?
So I didn't love them at first. I'm not so crazy. I still have to get used to that 6 o'clock day and date. I think that's what the issue is here for me. And what I like about the 104s, and I never found this attractive in any other watches, but the 104s, the reason why the 104s work for me, and I think the 105s are very close to the 104s in a sense, is that I love the syringe hands. I don't know why. It's a silly little thing. That's why I love the Skino, because it has the syringe hands. There's something about that I like. And then, like I said, with the 105, the 6 o'clock day and date wheel, I don't know how I feel about that yet, but I do like the new UTC, I have to say, that they came out with. Is it the 105 UTC, I think is, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure. But I do like it in a UTC version for some reason, more though than I do that plain 105. What about you, Axel? What do you feel? How do you feel about them?
I feel like between a rock and a hard place. Actually, I'm torn a little bit. I actually start with the positive thing. I do like the bezel.
Yeah. Yes.
The two different functions of a bezel. That's great. I haven't seen this with other watches, and that's perfect. And I do appreciate that Sinn modernizes their portfolio. It's absolutely and most definitely a modern and fresh version of their watches. You can identify the watch as a Sinn, but it's not similar to any other watch they have. However, and now it comes to my personal taste, I prefer the syringe hands as you do. I don't like the plain and simple hands. that's the issue. What I have with the 40 series of Guinan, like you, I would always go for the classic one.
Yeah.
And the date vertically at the 6 o'clock position. Last time I saw this was at Vintage Watches from the 70s or something like that. So I still haven't decided for myself how this matches with the modern and fresh look, going back to a design element of the 70s.
Yeah.
Not quite sure. The watch is well made. It's a perfect build quality. It sits well on the wrist. I've seen them at Sinn's. I did a hands-on video of them. It's all fine, but the hands for me are too simple, too plain.
Yeah.
It supports perfect readability, most probably great readability at night. But looking at the watch several times a day, I don't want to say it's boring, but it's could be a little bit more exciting, actually.
The problem with the 105 is that there's the 104. Do you know what I mean? So you're naturally going to compare to them, to each other. If there was no 104, maybe we would feel differently about the 105. I don't know. I'm throwing that out there. Maybe, maybe not. So I think I know your answer to this, but maybe it has changed. Luftwaffe wants to know Damasco or Sinn. What do you prefer? Now, I mean, obviously, historically, you preferred Sinn. How do you feel about Damasco?
That's a difficult question for me, since I've tried to get into contact with Damasco to get a watch for review.
Yeah.
And I haven't been successful since 9 months now. So if the service is similar to their marketing quality, I'm not quite sure if I would be happy to send in the Damasco for service. That's my personal view. I haven't heard anything negative of Damasco. I have to be careful here. Yeah. The watches are of equal quality, I would say. I do like the Sinn design a little bit more. I don't like the crosshairs on the Damascos. The steel bracelet of Damasco is stellar. It's a really in-house made steel bracelet, extremely well made, at a price 3 times the price Sinn asks for a steel bracelet.
Right.
I don't know if it's worth 3 times the price. I haven't seen it yet, but they actually put a focus on developing their own stuff. They have in-house movements now, which Sinn doesn't have. So Damasco is trying to put a little bit of space between Damasco and Sinn.
Yeah, I've owned the DS30. I do like the crosshairs. I don't mind them so much. I do kind of like them, and I was happy with the quality of the Damasco. It's one of those watches that I regret selling. Axel wants to know how do the Air Force producing brands like Stova, Laco sell in Germany? Are they popular?
Well, actually, there have been 5 watches which historically produced watches for the Air Force. That's Stova, Laco, IWC, Wempe, and Lange and Söhne. And they're all in the market. They are all well known and recognized as quality brands. However, they sell in different price segments. If you look at IWC as the only Swiss brand, is completely differently priced than Laco. Laco starts around 380 euros, something like that. It's the cheapest watch they sell, and goes up to 6,000 for the most customized Erbstück of theirs. And IWC is by far more expensive. So is Lange and Söhne. So they are all known and all are appreciated as good brands. However, they are in completely different market segments.
Very well, very well. Well, so Nilo, I think Axel answered this saying that the most popular non-German brand is Rolex. By far in Germany, outsells the next 3 on the list, I think, if I'm correct. So, well, Axel, we're pushing on an hour. I thank you so much for coming on today and talking Torby, and showing us some of the watches you have in hand. I look forward to seeing the reviews of the 4 other watches. And we've done this stream before about a month or 2 ago. We're doing it today. I would love to continue doing this because I just love German watches, and I know that there's other people here who come on the chat and who subscribed to my channel who also love German watches too. So if we can keep on, doing this every once in a while, I'd be a very, very happy person. Um, Axel, do you have anything to promote? Do you have any Instagram or whatnot that you want to share with us?
To be honest, I'm too lazy to
Yeah, I know it's hard.
To maintain my social media channel. I
Yeah.
do have them, but promoting them wouldn't be fair because I don't feed them too much with any input. So
Yeah, I hear you. It's so hard. I almost forget that I have an Instagram account, and I force myself to put some images. But because I get a lot of positive feed, people love seeing wrist shots, and I need to be better at that as well. Well, Axel, I hope you have a great holiday.
There's one point to mention,
Oh, sure.
if you allow. I'm going to publish around Christmas Eve, I think, another episode of my 1 week on the wrist. That's a special format I do.
Yeah.
Any new watch I do, I keep on the wrist for a week, and I do a kind of video blog of that with my impressions, certain things I recognized during the full week. And the next one to be released is around Christmas Eve.
Can you give us
New Year's Eve? Sorry, New Year's Eve.
Can you give us an idea of what watch that is, or are you going to make us wait?
Oh, it's my circular Aquasport.
Oh, very nice, very nice. That's the micro brand one of the micro brands you were talking about. Anyway, please subscribe to Axel's channel. He has an English version and he has his native German version as well. You subscribe to them both. I'm subscribed to both, and support him. His review videos are very well thought out. They're great, and I enjoy every time I get a new review notification, or quick news flash is another format that he does. And they're just great videos, and I learned a lot from Axel's channel. Axel, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I appreciate it, and we'll talk soon, my friend.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure as always. Cheers.
Cheers. And guys, have a good evening.